Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, April the 19th. Once again, got a 3-game slate for Tuesday. Pretty sure the entire week, Tuesday up until Friday, we have 3 games every day. So it's going to be a 3-game slate every single day. And then I think on the weekends we have a 4-game slate. So 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. But gonna have 3 games, every day this week. Another 3-gamer to talk about for Tuesday. So we'll go through, game by game and talk through what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Monday night, talk through each team and, kind of break down everything. But before we get started, guys, as always, hit that like button down below. Appreciate the likes, as always. If you're new to the channel, you have not yet, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, go check out the sponsor of the video, Prize Picks. You can sign up for Prize Picks using my promo code Noah. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And Prize Picks, they are a player prop based DFS site, so it is very simple. You're just picking the over or the under on players' projections. They do have most of their board posted already for Tuesday's games. So if you want to take a look at their board, see some props that you like, you can make some selections, make some entries for yourself. As always, I will share a couple of my favorite plays in a video later that I'll probably upload later tonight, maybe an hour after this video goes up. I'll have my Prize Picks video posted. So for those of you that already do play on Prize Picks, you can check out that video. I'll share some of my favorite plays on Prize Picks in that video. But yeah, definitely get over to Prize Picks, sign up, use code Noah, get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Tuesday's 3-game slate. We'll start off with the first game of the night, Atlanta and Miami. So we got game 2 of this series. Obviously, Atlanta just got the crap beat out of them last game. So pretty much everyone on Atlanta was terrible last game. Trae Young had like one of the worst games I've ever seen him have. He shot 1 for 12, only played 28 minutes in a blowout, had just 22 Draftkings points. I would expect Trae Young to bounce back here. Obviously, the matchup against Miami is really tough. Miami's done a pretty good job at slowing down Trae this season. Miami is one of the better defensive teams in the league. But Trae's an elite player. He's going to have big-time usage when he's on the floor. If the game is close, he should play huge minutes. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last game. Obviously, it's going to be really hard for him to be that bad again. I don't love the matchup, but I think Trae does bounce back here. He's still not my favorite pay-up option today, but I think Trae's definitely viable. He's probably one of the few guys I'm looking to on Atlanta. I don't love a ton from this team just because the matchup is so tough. But you have like Bogdan at 5'3". He wasn't great last game, but Bogdan's going to have a pretty good role off the bench. He's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. Usually his usage off the bench is pretty good, playing with that second unit. So like as a mid-range small forward option, I don't mind going to Bogdan. John Collins did return last game. He only played 21 minutes off the bench. We don't really know how many minutes he's going to play today. We'll have to keep an eye on things. If John Collins is coming off the bench still, I'm assuming that means he's still going to be limited. If they move John Collins into the starting lineup, then I think at that point he's probably not on a minutes limit anymore. So definitely pay attention to this. If Collins is not limited, at 5,100, he's going to be a really good option, especially with Clint Capella out right now. Collins should play a lot of minutes at center. I think he basically was like the backup center behind Okongwu, and then the game blew out, so they played Gorgui Dieng a little bit. But Collins should get decent minutes. I would think he plays like 22, 24 off the bench. If he starts, then he probably gets closer to 30, if not over 30 minutes. So that's definitely going to be something to monitor. Whether or not John Collins is limited. If he is limited, not my favorite option, but if he's definitely, if he's starting and not on a minutes limit, I think he's a really good play at 5,100 because that is a cheap price tag for him. Kongwu, like I said, he started last game. Wasn't great, only played 21 minutes, had just 15 Draftkings points. Kongwu is a pretty decent point per minute player. Obviously, this matchup against Bam is really tough. Definitely some foul trouble risk guarding Bam. At 5K, I don't love him at this price tag, but he's playable, assuming, he's still starting and not Collins. They could maybe start Collins at center. Again, we'll have to monitor that. You have Gallo at 4,900, who played pretty good minutes once again. Obviously, he lost a lot of minutes due to blowout, but he was on pace to play really big minutes, had that game stay close. Played 29 minutes in the blowout, had 23 DK points. This is another thing like to keep an eye on. So if John Collins starts over Gallo, I'm not as interested in Gallo, but if Gallo is still in the starting lineup, then I'm assuming Gallo is going to continue to play pretty big minutes. The price tag at 4,900 I think is fair, and it's really hard to find value on these playoff slates. So a guy like Gallo for 4,900, I'm fine going to as a value option. Same could be said for Kevin Huerter. Like Gallo, Huerter, Hunter, who we're going to talk about. Like I think all these guys are fine. I would definitely limit like how many of these guys I have in one lineup. But if you want to play one of the 3 or maybe 2 of the 3 for value, I don't hate it. Kevin Huerter should play probably 30 minutes. If this game's close, maybe a little bit more. He's a good shooter. He's not a super high usage player, but If he can knock down his shots, get a couple rebounds, get a couple assists, he can definitely grind his way to 32, 33 DraftKings points and be a decent value at his salary. So don't mind Hunter as a value option. And then DeAndre Hunter, I kind of like for value. He's not the sexiest play by any means. He's not a guy that offers a massive upside, but at 4,400, he is cheap and he is going to play big minutes. Even in the blowout last game, they played DeAndre Hunter 35 minutes. So I think we're going to get big minutes from DeAndre Hunter on a nightly basis. He is one of their better defenders, so they kind of want him out there, guarding Jimmy, guarding Lowry, Hero as well. Like, they need Hunter out there for defense. The minutes should be really good. I don't love the matchup by any means. Obviously, Hunter is not a very high usage player. He's not a guy that's going to, break the slate by any means, but for 4,400, especially due to the minutes he's going to play, I think he is a pretty solid value kind of at first look. So I'm definitely interested in DeAndre Hunter at 4,400, and he's also cheap on Yahoo. So if you play over there at only $14 at small forward, I definitely think Hunter is a decent small forward value. So that's kind of what I'm liking on Atlanta. Let's move on to the other side with Miami. So looking at Miami here, kind of big news to monitor with Bam Adebayo questionable. Given it's a playoff game, I'm assuming Bam Adebayo is going to play. It seems really weird that he would sit a playoff game unless it's like a really serious injury. But obviously something to monitor if Bam plays. We'll talk about that in a second. If he's out, that would really benefit Dwayne Dedmon. But Dwayne Dedmon is also questionable. So kind of a tricky situation right now. Miami has a few guys listed questionable. Bam, I think PJ Tucker, Gabe Vincent, and Dwayne Dedmon are all questionable. I think obviously the biggest one is Bam. If he sits, Dedmon would obviously be a great value play, assuming he starts. If Bam and Dedmon by some chance are both out, then you would probably see Yurt7 start at center, I'd assume. And Yurt7 at minimum salary would be the best value play on the slate. So could get some value from Miami if Bam sits. I think it's very unlikely he does, but did just kind of want to throw it out there. Now you got Jimmy at the top for 8,400. I think Jimmy's a fine option. He's not been great lately. At his price tag, you're going to need like close to 50 DraftKings points for him to be worth the salary. He hasn't shown that really, that consistent upside. A lot of disappointing games from Jimmy. He's going to underperform a lot at his salary, but the nights where he has a big game, puts up 50 DK points, he's obviously going to be someone you want to roster. I don't think he's a standout play, but he's playable on a 3-game slate. Obviously, he would look better if Bam sits. Same could be said for Hero. I don't think Hero's a standout play, but on a 3-game slate, he's viable. Kyle Lowry is probably my favorite play on Miami. He's only 6,300. He was on pace to play really big minutes last game, had the game stay close. He played 29 minutes without playing at all in the fourth quarter. So got no fourth quarter minutes, still played almost 30 minutes, was productive as well, had 33 DraftKings points in that time. Lowry, he's been a decent point per minute player. He's been a guy that will average around a fantasy point per minute. And he's only 6,300. Like, he's still priced pretty nicely. So I think as a mid-range point guard option with some upside, Lowry's definitely someone I'm interested in. I think the minutes are going to be really good as long as Atlanta keeps this game close, which I think they will. So I definitely am interested in Lowry. He's very affordable on Yahoo. So if you play over there at $21, I think you can definitely target Kyle Lowry on Yahoo today. And then some other value plays. Duncan Robinson got really hot off the bench last game. He can always do that. He can always get hot, but outside of shooting threes, he's not going to do anything else. He literally got 1 rebound in those 23 minutes. So if he doesn't shoot 90% from the field, 89% from 3, he's probably not going for 32 DraftKings points like he did last game. But if you want to roster Duncan Robinson, if you think he's going to continue to shoot the ball really well, sure, you could go there. Max Strus did start, played 25 minutes. I'd assume he starts again, plays low 20s minutes. Okay value play. Probably rather go to DeAndre Hunter on the other side of the game, but Strus is fine. And that's really it. I mean, like, PJ Tucker should get like 30 minutes, but it's PJ Tucker, a guy that doesn't offer really any upside, not super high on him. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Minnesota and Memphis. So look at Minnesota today, the big 3, Cat, Edwards, Russell, I think are all in play here. I don't think I would, play, obviously, you're not going to play all 3 in the same lineup, but I think if you want to play one of the 3, maybe 2 of the 3 between Towns, Edwards, and Russell, I'm fine with it. Karl-Anthony Towns did play massive minutes last game, and it seems like, in the playoffs, they're really going to play Towns at huge minutes. Played 43 minutes last game, wasn't super productive, had 52 DK points. Obviously, at this salary, you're kind of wanting close to 60 DraftKings points from him if he can get there. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is a little bit overpriced right now for what his role is and his ceiling. He's not a guy that rarely is going to put up a score that, like, at his price tag you have to have him, but the minutes should be really good for Cat. I think he's definitely in play on a 3-game slate. Anthony Edwards had a huge game last game. He also played huge minutes, 40 minutes. He shot the ball 23 times, so his usage was really good. He did have 36 points, finished with 54 DK points. A lot of times you'll see in these playoff series and in these slates, what a player does the game before sometimes will dictate their ownership the next day. So if everyone's going to play Anthony Edwards because he had a huge game last game, at that point I'm kind of fine fading him just because he has been a very inconsistent player this season. But we know the upside's always there for Ant, and we know the minutes are going to be really good as well. So he's definitely viable. I'm kind of interested in D'Angelo Russell, though, because D'Angelo Russell, price tag's still affordable at 7,100. He had a terrible game last game, but I think that kind of lowers his ownership for today. Like I said, when guys have big games, a lot of times in the playoffs, especially since you're playing the same team again, you'll see guys get more ownership if they're coming off a big game. Sometimes guys that have a bad game will get lesser ownership. So at 7,100, if D'Angelo Russell's going to be really low owned because he was so bad last game, like that's the guy that I'd be very interested in going to in tournaments because we know Russell has upside too. He had that huge game, in the play-in game against the Clippers. He's got upside. I think in the playoffs his minutes are going to be really good. I know he didn't play that many last game, but I think most nights you're getting 35, 36 minutes from D'Angelo Russell. So he's definitely viable. Not loving much else on Memphis though. Patrick Beverley, he feels like a safe option. He's probably going to play like 30 minutes and probably give you like 25, 30 DraftKings points. I do question the upside on Patrick Beverley at this price tag, but he's a solid play. He feels like a safe option, like I said. Malik Beasley off the bench, had a really good game last game. He's kind of similar to Duncan Robinson in that, he's very scoring dependent. He has to get hot from the field to put up a big game, but if you want to continue to play Malik Beasley because he's been playing well, like I don't hate it. At 4,700, he's an okay value play. I don't think I'm considering anyone else on Minnesota though. Not much else stands out here. So let's move on to the other side of this game with the Grizzlies. So looking at Memphis, you have Ja at the top for 9,800. I will say that I think Ja's probably my favorite pay-up option on this slate, kind of at first look. We don't have Jokic, we don't have Embiid, we don't have Harden, we don't have those guys, Giannis. Like none of those guys are on this slate. So if you look at the pay-up options, Ja Morant, he's the most expensive player on the slate at 9,800, and I think I would prefer Ja over guys like Cat, Trey, Devin Booker, who we'll talk about. So very interested in Ja at 9,800. He played 35 minutes last game. I think today, especially with them being down, 0-1 or 1-0 in the series, with them being down a game, I think they're going to push Ja even more. Obviously, the Grizzlies, they don't want to lose this game and go, have to go to Minnesota being down 2 games. This is a big game for the Grizzlies. They need to get a win here. So I think they're really going to push Ja. They're going to play him probably closer to 40 minutes, maybe even, over 40 minutes. He was really productive last game in those 35 minutes. He had 49 DraftKings points. He's pretty much fully healthy now. He was dealing with injuries, towards the end of the regular season. He had that one game he played right before the regular season ended. But his minutes were good last game. I think they're going to be even higher today, especially since they lost last game. I like Ja quite a bit. He's my favorite pay-up option today. 9,800 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's $43. He's a guy that I'll definitely be trying to fit in, if I can. And then the rest of Memphis, Triple J, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams. None of these guys are standout plays to me. They're viable. Like Triple J has upside if he can stay out of foul trouble, but last game he was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls in 24 minutes. He did have 7 blocks last game, which was just unreal. Look, he's got upside. He's a guy that can score. He can get rebounds. Obviously, he's a great shot blocker. It's just the foul trouble, man. He's always in foul trouble. This dude just can't stay out of foul trouble for some reason. But if you do, play him on the day where he gets big minutes and stays out of foul trouble, the upside is definitely there. He's obviously a risky option. Desmond Bane, gonna have to get hot from the field to really put up a big ceiling game, especially at this price tag. But in what should be a fast-paced game against Minnesota, who leads the league in pace this season, I don't mind going to Desmond Bane. Dylan Brooks is fine. Steven Adams, I'm a little bit worried about in this matchup. They kind of cut his minutes down a little bit. He was dealing with a little bit of foul trouble last game, but I think in this matchup against Towns, Towns is a very athletic, quick, big, and I think Steven Adams is going to struggle to guard those kind of guys. We saw them close with Brendan Clark over Steven Adams last game. They can obviously put Triple J on Cat. He can defend him as well. So I don't know if Steven Adams is going to play like huge minutes every night in the series. I could see him playing like maybe mid-20s. So he's a riskier option for sure. I'm not super high on Steven Adams. Will mention Brandon Clark just because he did see increased minutes last game, played 27 minutes, was very productive in that time, had 36 DraftKings points. He did close over Steven Adams. Again, I think this is a matchup where you could see maybe Clark get increased minutes, just because I think he maybe matches up better with Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns, again, very quick, very athletic. Steven Adams, more of a traditional 5. He's a little bit slower. So at 4,400, I'll be interested to see what his ownership is. Like if everybody's going to play Brandon Clark because he had a big game last game, again, that's a point where I'd be fine fading him. But if nobody's going to play Brandon Clark for value, then I definitely am interested, especially if he's going to be lower owned. But we'll just kind of have to take a look at that ownership for tomorrow. Once that's announced and sites release that information. But that's all that I got for Memphis. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, last game of the night, late night hammer, Pelicans and the Suns. So looking at the Pelicans today, these Pelicans guys, the main three guys, CJ, Ingram, J-Val, I'm interested in all three of these guys. They're going to play huge minutes. Last game, CJ played over 40 minutes. He shot the ball pretty terribly, 36% from the field, but still had almost 50 Draftkings points. I mean, CJ's role is going to be great. The minutes are going to be really, really high. The matchup against Phoenix is obviously not the most ideal. This game does have some blowout risk. It was looking like last game was going to be a blowout. Then the Pelicans made a little bit of a run. They kept the game somewhat close. I do worry about blowout a little bit here, but if the game's close, I think CJ's playing 40-plus minutes. At 8,100, he's definitely in play for me. I do prefer him over Brandon Ingram. I think CJ just offers more upside, but Ingram should play a huge minutes as well. At 7,900, he is definitely playable. I'm fine going there. J-Val, I like a ton. I was on J-Val last slate. He had a huge game. Obviously, a little bit fluky that he had 25 rebounds. I don't think that's going to happen again. I'm pretty sure that's the most rebounds that J-Val has had all season, 25. It's got to be. I mean, there's no way he's had more than 25. Oh, yeah, 23 against Minnesota earlier in the season. But, yeah, 25 rebounds from J-Val last game. A little bit unsustainable, but the minutes were solid, 31 minutes. He shot the ball terribly and, still scored 54 DK points. We know J-Val stuffs the stat sheet. He scores, he rebounds, he can block shots. He's just going to be productive when he's out there. And I think in this matchup against Phoenix, going up against Ayton, they're going to need his size. So I expect the minutes to be solid for J-Val. Still think he's underpriced at 7,500, so I like him quite a bit on both sides. He's affordable on Yahoo as well. Definitely think he's a good play over there at $28. And then some of the other Pelicans, not a ton else stands out here. We'll mention Herb Jones just because he should play good minutes. He played 31 last game, had 4 fouls. Not sure if he lost any minutes due to foul trouble or not, but I would think on a nightly basis, Herb's going to play probably 30, 32 minutes, maybe more. Obviously, his defense is needed here going up against Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So Herb Jones is in play for me just because of the minutes he's going to play. We did see Trey Murphy play really well off the bench last game, and he's kind of played well the last 2 games. In the play-in game against the Clippers, he played 24 minutes, was pretty solid. In the last game in the series, he played 26 minutes. I think the Pelicans are starting to get a little bit more trust in Trey Murphy, playing him more minutes. I don't think it's a guarantee that he plays 26 minutes again, but at 3,400, if you want to take that risk and play him as a punt option, he's probably the best value play under 4K. There's not really much down there that looks good. So I think if you are trying to play a cheap guy, 3,400 Trey Murphy, if he continues to get these minutes off the bench, he's definitely in play for me. That's all that I got, though, for the Pelicans. I'm not seeing really anything else that stands out here. So let's move on to the other side with Phoenix. Devin Booker and Chris Paul, 8,800 for Booker, 8,300 for Paul. I was really high on Chris Paul last slate. I thought his price tag was just way too cheap, especially in the playoffs where he should play big minutes. And he had a huge game. He's put up 64 DK points, had a huge fourth quarter. He got really hot from 3 in the fourth quarter, played 35 minutes. In the playoffs, I expect Chris Paul's minutes to be really high, 35, 36 minutes a night. Now that he's priced closely to Devin Booker, it's close between those two guys for me. Maybe since Paul had such a big game last game, maybe I would side with Booker today. Booker played 41 minutes last game. We know Devin Booker is going to play huge minutes every night. So between the two Phoenix guards, I have a slight lean to Booker today, but it's definitely close. I think both are viable. DeAndre Ayton is 7,200. I think is fine as well. He played 34 minutes last game, and I think in the playoffs, his minutes are going to be really good as well. We saw it during the regular season. Ayton wasn't playing a ton of minutes. He was playing low 30s. I think now in the postseason, he's going to get mid to high 30s minutes on a nightly basis. Still think J-Val offers more upside at a similar price tag, but as a center option, I definitely think DeAndre Ayton is in play today. And then I do like Mikal Bridges kind of as a value play. Mikal Bridges, he's only 5K. He's not that expensive, and he played huge minutes last game, 38 minutes. I expect Bridges to play a ton of minutes every single night. We've seen him be able to handle playing huge minutes. I think we're going to get 38, 40 minutes from Mikal Bridges. Now, is he a great point-per-minute player? Obviously not. He's not a high-usage player. He's not a guy that offers a ton of upside, but the minutes are going to be massive, and it's hard to find guys at this salary that are going to play the amount of minutes that Mikal Bridges will. So at 5K as a cheaper option, I'm kind of interested in Mikal Bridges today for value. He's fairly cheap on Yahoo. He's not as affordable over there, but I still think at $22, he's someone you can definitely look to at the small forward position. I don't think on Yahoo he'll be nearly as popular at this price tag. You might get a little bit of ownership on DraftKings, but on Yahoo, I don't really see anyone playing Mikal Bridges at that salary, so he could make for a good low on tournament play. Other Phoenix guys though, like there's nothing else I'm loving here. Cam Johnson off the bench, he can get hot, can have a big game any night, but obviously there's some risk there. Jay Crowder, I mean, he's going to start and play like 30 minutes. He's very similar to like Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Gallinari. Like you could throw Jay Crowder into the mix with those guys. I mean, none of these guys have a ton of upside, but they're all going to play solid minutes and they're all pretty cheap. So these are the kind of guys you're considering for value today. I'm fine with Crowder as a value option. I still prefer those Atlanta guys like Huerter and Gallo and Hunter, but Crowder is playable if you want to go to him. And that's it for Phoenix. I think that's everything that stands out here. So that's all that I've got for this 3-game Tuesday slate. Once again, appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Again, go check out PrizePicks. Link down below in the description, or just sign up with my promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And you can take a look at PrizePicks board for Tuesday's games, see everything they have to offer. You can make some picks for yourself. You can take a look at the plays I give out in my video on Tuesday. I'll probably post that later tonight, maybe an hour after this video gets posted. So if you're watching this later after I post it, check my channel. I'll have my PrizePicks video up there, and you can see some of my favorite plays for PrizePicks today, what I'm interested in for this Tuesday slate, what kind of plays stand out to me at first look. But again, that's all that I got for today, guys. Wish you the best of luck on this Tuesday slate. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.